Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons versus Seattle Seahawks Week 11 matchup based on analytics. Each week, I collect all of the current 2017 NFL team data in order to analyze and project potential NFL performance. Since it's a weekly collection, there's always going to be some variations in the data from a variable standpoint. However, there will always be little nuggets of truth that could become bigger nuggets of truth as the season continues. So stick around as I analyze each week's matchups based on analytics. And if you're new to the channel, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So starting with this matchup between the Falcons and the Seahawks, when you look at the NFL stat basic comparison data, and basic comparison data essentially looks at how the offense is doing, how the defense is doing, and how the special teams is doing. And based on all those factors, the Seahawks are favored in this game, but very slightly, very close game, actually, when you look at the differences between these teams. So let's get into it a bit. Let's talk about some of the strengths, some of the weaknesses between both these teams. Firstly, the Falcons have the better offense. When it comes to offensive score percentage, the Falcons are a lot better than the Seahawks in that regard. And when it comes to sack percentage, preventing sacks on offense, Falcons are better. The Seahawks have a better turnover percentage, but most of the data, and especially the data that matters, the ability to put points on the board, favors the Falcons. On the other side of the football, though, defensively, the Seahawks have the advantage, of course. The Seahawks are better in terms of defensive offensive score percentage, meaning that they prevent more points on defense, they get more turnovers on defense, and the Seahawks also get more interceptions on defense. And the Falcons have an advantage in terms of getting sacks, but that's about it. So kind of polar opposites. Falcons, offensive driven, Seahawks, defensive driven. Then when you get to special teams, the Falcons have the better punt return yardage, better kick return yardage goes to the Seahawks, defensive punt return yardage goes to the Falcons, defensive kick return yardage goes to the Seahawks, field goal percentage goes to the Falcons, extra point percentage goes to the Falcons, punting average is kind of even for the most part, but I would say most of the special teams data favors the Falcons. But overall, just to kind of make this kind of clear, the Seahawks are favored, very close. Falcons have the better offense. The Seahawks have the better defense, and the Falcons have slightly better advantages in terms of special teams. So this is going to be a very interesting game to kind of see what happens because these are polar opposite teams in terms of strengths and weaknesses for the most part. Then when we get to some micro matchup situations, so looking at different down and distance data, when you look at the Falcons offense versus the Seahawks defense, the Seahawks have advantages in terms of first and third down, respectfully. Then, of course, you look at the Seahawks offense versus Falcons defense, and I would say it's pretty even here. The Falcons have the advantage on first down, Seahawks have the advantage on second down, and then third down is pretty even between both these teams. So I would say this is one area where they're kind of even in terms of the distribution of success, failure on all those downs and distances. Then, of course, you get to rushing downs, Falcons offense versus Seahawks defense, and the Falcons have the advantage here in terms of second and third down. Then we get to the Seahawks offense versus the Falcons defense when it comes to, this particular situation, the Seahawks are favored here in terms of second and third down. Then we get to passing situations between the Falcons offense and the Seahawks defense, and the Seahawks are favored here in terms of second and third down, respectfully. Then we get to passing situations with the Seahawks offense versus Falcons defense, and in this area, the Falcons are favored in terms of first and third down. Then we get to sack rate for the Falcons offense versus Seahawks defense, and in this way, the Falcons are favored in terms of first and third down. Seahawks offense versus Falcons defense when it comes to sacks, and in this area, the Seahawks are favored. Then we get to interceptions with the Falcons versus Seahawks defense, and the Seahawks are favored here in terms of getting picks, which should be expected based on the macro data. And then finally, you look at the Seahawks offense versus Falcons defense, where the Seahawks are pretty much favored on first, second, and third down. The Seahawks just don't turn the football over that much. Now they do a little bit more on first down, but the Falcons mostly get their interceptions on second down. So that's kind of the little tidbit, I guess, to throw in there. So general impressions of this game, I really don't know. I don't have a clue how it's going to turn out. I think both these teams are pretty evenly matched. I would put my money on the Falcons, and I say that because I tend to go with offensive teams. The data prefers offensive teams. Teams that have great offenses but meh defenses still win more games than teams that have good defenses and meh offenses. So that's kind of how I feel about this game. So even though most of the data favors the Seahawks, like overall the Seahawks, I still gotta go Falcons here. I just have a feeling that the Falcons will be able to outscore the Seahawks to a certain extent, and if they don't, then they don't. If the Seahawks defensively get some good stops and the Seahawks offense does really well against this Falcons defense, then I think it's anybody's game. But I just have a feeling that it's just going to be Falcons in this one for some reason. I just have that feeling. And of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.